What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tru Element 78 in the building with.
The reigning and defending Mondo Lucha Hall of Famer and the guy who just defeated Thanos for the Infinity Gauntlet, the X-Man, Xavier Mustafa.
And we got a special guest on the podcast with us today. He's going to be here helping us discuss the Fastlane pay-per-view as well as Raw and Smackdown for this week. This is a special edition of Saturday Night SlamCasters. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Representing the Dark Match Mafia, your boy, Skylar Reed, hashtag BMM.
Yep. Be on the lookout for an interview with Skylar Reed dropping on the 28th or the 29th of this month, which is today is March 15th, 2019. Like I said, we're here with your Fastlane results and review as well as Raw and SmackDown review. And Fastlane was a pay-per-view that we didn't have a whole bunch of expectations for. Felt it was an unnecessary pay-per-view. We were pretty much proven correct. As far as the pay-per-view goes and as far as Raw and SmackDown goes, that it was filler, but it was filler that laid down the road to WrestleMania, but it has a whole bunch of potholes in it. But like I said, we're going to get into it, and we're going to kick things off. Oh, first of all, I want to say Chris Black isn't on the show with us currently. He had a flood in his residence, so he's taking care of that. But we got Skylar Reed here with us, so he's going to help us do the review. So we kick things off for Fastlane with the New Day defeating Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura on the kickoff show. This was not a match that was announced prior to the show, but it was one that was put on the kickoff show. I didn't actually get to see this match, so I don't really have much to say about it. Do you guys got it? What were your thoughts on the New Day versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura?
Thought it was a traditional showing out of all four guys. I mean, there was nothing super spectacular about the match, so nothing really stood out for me in it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was nothing too fancy. It was more so the idea of having them on the pre-show to set up the Kofi thing later on.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention, that prior to this match, one of the backstage interviewers came up to the New Day and let Kofi Kingston know that Vince McMahon wanted to see him in his office about a WWE Heavyweight Championship opportunity. And so he went to go take care of that, and the rest of the New Day headed out to the ring. Like I said, they defeated Shinsuke and Rusev in this match. And then to kick off the actual show, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship being defended by the best tag team in the world, The Miz and Shane McMahon. Oh, not defended by the Usos were the champions, and they were defending against the best tag team in the world of The Miz and Shane McMahon. This match was better than I expected it to be. I think everybody put in work in this match. Like I said, as far as the result, I was actually surprised by the result of the match. I thought that The Miz and Shane McMahon may have gotten their championships back, but that was not to be. Once the match was over and the Usos retained, The Miz and Shane McMahon went over to The Miz's father, did a couple of congratulatory handshakes and hugs, and then that's when the turn happened, and Shane McMahon turned on The Miz, beat him down in front of his dad, as well as pinched the face of The Miz's dad, and yeah, we had a heel turn from Shane McMahon. So what do we think of the match and the heel turn following?
Again, thought the match was okay. Again, nothing special. But I hated the heel turn at the end. One, because it was probably the most foreshadowed thing on the entire show. And I would have rather it actually went the other way, because Shane made it look really, really phony to me, in my opinion. Like, it just looked odd and weird, and it was probably the worst 10-minute turn I've ever seen in wrestling.
Wow. The worst?
Like, he was like punching them, and Shane has them little crappy short punches that don't look good, and I just thought it was bad looking. There's a part where he went to go do a submission hold, where he had like
that triangle choke
is in like a triangle, and then tried to fell over it, and he completely lost him and had him in nothing.
Yeah, that triangle choke looked pitiful. What were your thoughts on the match, Skylar?
Um, I I actually thought the match was pretty good compared to the rest. A lot of other stuff. The match did what it was supposed to do. Oddly enough, and most things in wrestling don't catch me off guard. The Shane thing caught me off guard. The timing and where they put it, especially being like the first match. Um, but I think this overall pay-per-view did that a lot. So I don't know. I didn't think it was as bad as you guys make it seem. Uh, I actually, the weird part is I haven't really given the Usos any credit in a while, but in the last like year, I feel like they've really stepped up their promos and their matches, and to go out there with the Miz and Shane, like, kind of proved it.
Next, we had the piss break. Um, we had Asuka defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Mandy Rose.
Didn't we go over, you can't say anything bad about Mandy Rose. I am the Corey Graves of this podcast, of this video. You can't say anything bad about Mandy Rose, so take it back.
I'm not taking anything back. I can't take that piss back.
Let me start on this.
I'll take my piss back when R. Kelly takes his piss back.
That's weird. Let me start on this one, since you're not going to say anything good about this match. So the match overall, most Asuka matches are pretty bad because Asuka's she's a beast, and Mandy Rose slipping on that apron was amazing. Because I'm not going to lie to you, running the ropes and then trying to trip yourself on purpose is really, really hard. And for her to slip on that and then to get kicked in the face, did you see the slow motion kick in the face?
Oh, yeah, she took all of that.
Yes. To take that boot to the chin was amazing. Mandy Rose gets a 5 stars for me. Asuka brings it back down to like 2.5. Mandy Rose all day. And then her attitude that she had with Sonya Deville after the match, beautiful. Acting ability, wrestling ability, just likability of Mandy Rose is amazing. You're welcome.
Which head were you watching this match with?
Both of them.
Xavier Mustafa, what were your thoughts?
I just kind of don't buy her and Asuka being like, I can't even find the words for it. I just feel like you need that certain person, that certain personality, that certain something to go against Asuka, and I don't think Mandy has it.
But see, that's not fair. That's not fair. Nobody has. Okay, for completely ripping it off. Nobody is ready for Asuka, and clearly, they don't have any. There's nobody in WWE that can go toe to toe with Asuka, except so far Charlotte Flair, maybe.
Ronda Rousey.
No, that match would be so bad, though. It would be so bad.
I think they would just start shooting.
That's why I'm thinking, for her to just beat up a girl like Mandy, and like the SmackDown prior or whatever, when Mandy stole that win, it made perfect sense that she just beat the tar out of her, and then she just tripped and fell and got kicked in the face. I'm sorry.
But see, if they would have had Mandy Rose on some type of like win streak or something, instead of just jobbing out every time we turned around. I mean, she just lost at Elimination Chamber.
Whoa.
All this like.
She had a good showing at Elimination Chamber. They were the final.
She did. I will say a lot of the girls had a good showing on that.
And she beat
I feel like she had no momentum going into that, and I think they could have built her. That's what I'm saying.
Naomi.
Like.
She beat Naomi, and then she beat Asuka. You remember she got the cheap win on Asuka.
Yeah, that's 2 wins.
And she's hot. She is hot. Momentum right there.
All right.
We're not going to be able to get through this because Mandy Rose is amazing.
the next segment was the New Day catching up with Kofi, still waiting outside of Vince McMahon's office. He had been waiting for an hour. New Day says, bump all that. They barge into Vince McMahon's office and confront him about giving Kofi Kingston a heavyweight title opportunity against Daniel Bryan. And then Vince McMahon says, yeah, I do think that the title match should be a triple threat, and told Kofi to go get ready for his match coming up next. So everyone was expecting for this to be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship, which it turned out not to be a triple threat match that Kofi was involved in. It turned out to be a handicap match against the Bar, with the New Day being banned from ringside. Later on, it was discovered that Vince McMahon did not lie about the WWE Heavyweight Championship match being a triple threat, but we'll discuss that when we get there. What did we think about the Kofi Kingston versus the Bar handicap match?
God, I wanted to shoot myself in the face this entire match. So just boring. I'm over it. Like, why does it have to be the Bar? There's so many other wrestlers they could have Kofi get beat down against. I hated it.
Jeez, you guys hated the whole show. I thought it was believable. I didn't understand it, and I still don't understand it, even watching the whole pay-per-view and the whole Kofi thing all together. But there's really nobody else that can run him over that are heels. So those two guys weren't doing anything on the show.
They could have sent Shinsuke and Rusev out there, which they did. Eventually, after about 5 to 7 minutes of Kofi just getting his ass handed to him by the Bar, the New Day
paying his dues.
The New Day did decide to come in and try to help Kofi Kingston, but then they were ambushed by Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev from behind, and then it was pretty much the Bar, Rusev and Nakamura beating the piss out of Kofi Kingston and the New Day. So that's where that segment was left off. Next up, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship being defended by the Revival, taking on Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, Aleister Black and Ricochet in a triple threat tag team match. The Revival winning, I think that was the right decision. This match was a lot of fun, in my opinion. I don't get tired of seeing Ricochet and Aleister Black. Whenever he pulls out that black mask on the main roster, I'm always like, somebody's going to die.
Man, that is probably one of the most underrated, spectacular moves in WWE, in my opinion. Because that move does look like it kills everybody it hits him with. I love them too as a tag team. I never thought in a million years they would be a tag team, but I think they work pretty well together. And then the Revival, I'm always a big fan of the Revival, as long as they let the Revival do Revival things. So with that, I give this match a Dave Meltzer 6 out of 5 stars.
Dave Meltzer.
Wow, I'm completely shocked. You guys found something good about the pay-per-view.
I thought you were going to say I hated it.
Which, believe it or not, I gave up on this match and stopped watching. I'm not even kidding. It was the only match that I was like, yeah, the Revival's going to win. I don't care. I got up, got some food, got a drink, wandered around, played with the baby, and then it came back.
So what you mean is you didn't see Mandy Rose when she came down in the middle of this match?
Don't play with it. I'll bring it up on my phone right now just so I can see more Mandy Rose.
The backstage interview that this match was interrupted with about Mandy Rose's condition.
And her face, man.
Next up, we had the United States Championship being defended by Samoa Joe against Rey Mysterio, Andrade, and R-Truth. This match was originally not on the card either. It was Rey Mysterio and Andrade scheduled to face each other on the kickoff show, but it was turned into a fatal four-way for the United States Championship. Samoa Joe retained his title, and again, very fun match. I enjoy seeing Andrade, R-Truth. There, he defies science and logic the way that he can still get out there and move at his age, and the performance that he can put on, as well as Rey Mysterio. Samoa Joe winning definitely needed to happen because there's too many stop and goes with Samoa Joe. So hopefully this time he has a run with this belt, and it's not just to get to WrestleMania to drop it to someone. Hopefully they're letting Samoa run with this title at least till SummerSlam. So what were you guys' thoughts?
This was another match I loved.
Yeah.
I think R-Truth and Andrade, who are the two people that needed to shine in this match, I thought they shined. So I thought they did good business that way. And Samoa Joe, they let that dude go out there and be a beast, and I liked it.
So, okay, I'll actually agree with you guys on this one. Samoa Joe is amazing. He's been amazing since the first time I seen him in Ring of Honor. Everybody else I could do without, except, you remember I told you this, Xavier. I told you this. The most over guy in WWE is still R-Truth. R-Truth is, you remember when I told you that, I don't know, like a couple months ago, maybe even a year, and I told you how that What's Up was, amazing? This dude is doing John Cena's moves, and people are cheering. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. His, him saying that he looked up to John Cena as a kid is just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
The most hilarious thing about it is when that was who he was beefing with when he was in the main event scene and talking about the little Billy and everything like that. It was John Cena. Wasn't that around that same time?
Little Jimmy? Yeah,
Little Jimmy, not Little Billy. Little Jimmy, that was all based on John Cena.
But that was when they were putting over John Cena versus The Rock. So, yeah.
So, it's kind of funny. But like I said, yeah, I would actually agree with that. Like, R-Truth is just always over. But it also goes back to what we were discussing in the interview that we conducted with you as far as he knows how to connect with the crowd. He knows how to pull that reaction out of the crowd. When you said a lot of people don't know how to do that nowadays. And that's something that he's been able to do throughout his entire career. And that What's Up is just the cusp of that. It's just like the beginning of it. So,
can somebody answer something for me? When he comes out and does that song with Carmella, can anybody understand what she's saying?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Because I can't understand what she's saying, and it sounds terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. But, I mean, so I read an interview that Carmella was having after she lost the title, and somebody bashed her online and was like, "Oh, you're terrible. You lost the belt, blah blah blah. And now they got you with R-Truth." And she admitted that the most fun she's had in wrestling since her Enzo Cass days are doing this with R-Truth, and it's you can actually tell that those two just go out there and have the most fun that they can do. They just goof around, they dance. That whole 5-7 second dance break is amazing. And all they do is just sit there and dance. And it's it works.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell they're out there having fun. And I'm not knocking that. I just know when it comes to her part of the rap, and I just be like,
I mean, it's not supposed to be good. Because, I mean, to be honest, R-Truth says things that don't even make sense half the time. I'm like, dude, does he forget the words to his own song? Because what is going on?
And then next,
I mean, obviously, he forgot his own move set, so.
No, he just got reassigned. Somebody did create a character.
Right?
He's a John Cena android with black skin. But next up, we had the Women's Tag Team Championship. This was another piss break. even though I did catch part of it. We had the Women's Tag Team Championship being defended by the Boston Hug Connection of Bayley and Sasha Banks against Nia Jax and Tamina, with obviously Sasha Banks and Bayley going over. Tamina actually impressed me in this match, but still it wasn't a good match.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, you remember how I was talking about before, like, with women's wrestling? Like, Bayley and Sasha are supposed to be, like, upper echelon of the women talent. They don't make anyone better, and they're not that great themselves. And like, a match like this wasn't even to put their feud over. It was to put over the other two. And they failed to do that. And it's like Nia and Tamina came out looking stronger than the actual winners of the match.
I will say, Tamina did a lot more in this match than I've ever seen her do ever. And it wasn't terrible.
No. Dude, I think she has one of the best super kicks, like, out there. I love her super kick. Anytime she connects, I'm like, oh, she is going to hurt somebody. Like, maybe she does hurt people. I don't know. But
oh, we would definitely hear about it. We hear about it every time Nia Jax does.
Hey, and what did she do? She ran with that. The face breaker. Yep.
For like 2 weeks.
Hey, they probably got mad at her and was like, don't do that anymore.
Oh, I'm sure they told her to do it. Lean into that. You're a fan of old school wrestling. I can't remember who it was. The guy that made the T-shirts when he broke the guy's leg back in the day. I just seen that shirt not too long ago. But yeah, lean into
who?
It was
T-shirts.
It was an old school feud, and this guy actually hurt somebody in real life, almost like old boy over there in Impact who hit the guy in the face with the baseball bat.
Eddie.
Sammy Callahan.
Yeah, Sammy Callahan. This guy back in like the early 80s or late 70s, he broke somebody's leg in the ring, and then he just ran with it as his gimmick and made T-shirts saying "I broke his leg" or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember Larry Zbyszko did the same thing, and he called himself the Cruncher because he crunched bones.
Yeah. And then next up, we had the WWE Championship being defended by Daniel Bryan. This was the match that that was supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship, but as Vince McMahon let us know earlier tonight, he decided to turn into a triple threat match and added Mustafa Ali to the match instead of Kofi Kingston. And boy, I don't think anybody would have been envious of Mustafa Ali's spot in this match, because the fans just shit all over the beginning of this match. But I got to give it to everybody in this match. By the end of it, they did have the crowd actually invested into the match. So overall, it was a good match. Daniel Bryan did retain. Go ahead and give us you guys' thoughts on the match.
I thought the match was good. The only thing I think was not so great about the match is I feel like Mustafa Ali is kind of the how do I word it? He feels out of place, and I think it's mainly because of the start and stop with him. I think if that wasn't there, I probably could be behind him. But right now, it feels like it's such Kofi's time. So it feels like anything they do that does not involve Kofi, he's kind of taking the heat for that. So I think what they should have did is they should have had him either maybe off TV and then come back after the Kofi thing. Because I think right now, I think he's losing his I don't want to say credibility, but he's losing his likability. Maybe that's the better word.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the match itself was meh. It was all right. I'd probably say like 2 stars out of 5 if I was going, but like it wasn't anything surprising. It wasn't anything great. Just like there's a reason why this isn't the main event. Like that kind of feel.
Yeah, and I looked
at the whole lead up to that match was bad. Like,
yeah, I looked at this match and I looked at the simplest storytelling that they could possibly do in the WrestleMania is Kofi getting the the title shot against Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali turning heel on Kofi Kingston, saying this was my spot and you stole it, and then joining up with Daniel Bryan. That's what I'm seeing them doing, just because, like you said, and like I stated, is that everyone wanted Kofi Kingston and nobody wanted Mustafa Ali. And it wasn't even necessarily start and stop with Mustafa Ali. He earned the spot, but he got hurt. And then he was out for 2 weeks. And then they just bring him back, and he's back in that title position. Whereas not necessarily that the fans had forgotten about him, but he wasn't on TV long enough for people to even really start to care about him. And he pinned the champion 2 times on television already. So it's just a really weird spot that he's in. And yeah, they should have either kept him off television until after this Kofi thing had settled down, or at least until he got his one-on-one match, because fans are still going to bitch, moan, and complain if Kofi gets his one-on-one with Daniel Bryan and loses, whether that be clean or through nefarious means. But I think the majority of fans will be able to accept that, and then if Mustafa Ali was to come back and get slotted back into that spot, it would be a lot more accepted than him being thrown into this match after what we saw happen to Kofi Kingston earlier in the night.
I'm just glad they got rid of Mustafa Ali. Like, I mean, he shouldn't be in a title picture. This looks exactly like when James Ellsworth did it, a year or so ago? Like,
but that was a little bit different, because remember, it kept being Dean Ambrose that kept throwing him into the title.
No, I know, but it's the same gimmick. Like, the guy beat the champ twice, so now everybody thinks he deserves a shot. It's like, no, the guy, no.
Did you ever get to face Mustafa out here on the scene?
No.
Oh, okay.
I did.
And thoughts on him?
You did?
Mm-hmm.
So what was that match?
Yeah.
What did they call you in that match?
I was just Xavier Mustafa. He was just Mustafa. He was actually, I think at the time he wasn't Mustafa Ali at the time. I think he was wrestling as the Great Mordecai or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then he later changed his name to Mustafa Ali, and I was like, "What you do that for?" But Prince Mustafa Ali. There we go.
Oh, okay. Next up, we had. Oh, this frustrated me so much, but it got us to where we needed to go. We had Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair via disqualification to earn a Raw Women's title shot at WrestleMania 35, making the title match at WrestleMania a triple threat match between Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey.
Did you say it got us to where we needed to go?
It got them to the destination that they wanted to get to.
No. I know we're gonna go in the future here for a second, but Becky Lynch said it perfectly correctly. What everyone wants to see is Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey.
Well,
nobody cares about Charlotte Flair.
Well, I said where they wanted to go, not where we wanted to go.
It's exactly like Becky said, though. She goes, I was supposed to go against Ronda. I got hurt. Okay, cool. They put Charlotte in there. Charlotte goes crazy, does whatever. They make Becky wins the Royal Rumble, so it's her match. Then she has to wrestle a match to earn her match back? That doesn't even make any to be added to her own match.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
I called Xavier Mustafa and Chris Black like the Saturday before the pay-per-view, and I'm just like, we had done our podcast and everything, and I was just like, you know what? The convoluted storyline that they told, you completely even forgot that Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble to have her spot.
No. I mean, they told you since like the beginning it was going to be a triple threat, but it's like every step of the way you could be like, okay, WWE's going to not do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to. Oh man, they're going to do it. And it's just like, wow, talk about, give the people what they want with the whole Kofi thing. The people literally wanted Ronda versus Becky, and it was going perfect. And now they're like, no, we like Charlotte, so we got to put her in there. Dude, Charlotte, she's another one of those. She's really good, don't get me wrong, but seeing her every single time in the top spot is kind of annoying.
Overexposed.
Yeah.
So, and then you're probably gonna both of y'all gonna hate me for this for different reasons. You're going to hate what I'm going to say because I've said it a million times. You're going to hate what I'm going to say because it has to talk about your girl, Mandy Rose.
Oh, no.
Right. So This is a perfect example of they could have totally not did this whole storyline, gave us our Becky versus Ronda Rousey, and they could have had Charlotte wrestle Asuka
Yeah.
because Charlotte has a reason to wrestle Asuka.
Yes.
Mandy Rose does not have a reason to wrestle Asuka. So now you've totally downplayed your women's championship on SmackDown at the expense of Raw, giving us what the fans don't want.
Exactly.
I understand we can't get what we want all the time, but usually WrestleMania is the time where usually you try to make your people happy. That's like the main event of all the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So them to do the storyline makes no sense from the standpoint of right now. Becky looks weak as shit right now.
That's why this frustrated me so much is that all momentum, all heat, all everything that they had behind Charlotte looks weak because Ronda came out there, did what she did, and Charlotte didn't do anything. She sat there in the corner looking at Ronda Rousey and let her walk out of the ring. Becky Lynch is in the corner laughing at Charlotte. So Charlotte's just been looking weak throughout this entire thing. She's been cutting strong promos, but it's the same promo over and over again.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not strong,
right? And Becky Lynch just looks weak. Like I'm tired of the leg injury angle. When the hell? How? Like if the doctors cleared you, how is your leg so messed up that every week your limp is getting worse and worse and worse? Even though you haven't had a match, you haven't been involved in a wrestling match since the Royal Rumble.
Can we restart that? She's also selling the wrong leg.
Well, no,
originally hurt the right.
No, actually it was the left. She started selling the wrong leg at the Royal Rumble, and then the left toe her. No, like all right. So the left leg was the one being worked at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And then she started selling the right
sold
leg,
the right one.
And then the ref halfway through that beatdown was like, "No, you're selling the wrong leg." And so then she switched it back to the left, and they've had the left leg ever since then. It's kind of hard to sell the wrong leg when it has the brace on it. But
no, I know. No, what I'm saying is in the match though, when she clutched at her right knee when she fell off the stairs, she clutched at her right knee. So she's been selling the wrong one the whole time.
Yeah. But she Becky isn't looking strong. WWE didn't need to do this convoluted storyline, and if they really wanted to do this convoluted storyline and get us to the Becky and Charlotte, they could have did everything that they did, and they could have changed two different things. And this is to take Charlotte out of the match. They could have still had the same match at Fastlane with the different stipulation of, okay, Becky, you won the Royal Rumble or whatever. So you defeat Charlotte, you get to go to you get to stay in your match or whatever, and your suspension is lifted. But if you lose, then your suspension is lifted and Charlotte is added to your match or whatever. Or to get Charlotte out of the match, they could have, instead of having Ronda Rousey come down to attack Becky, they could have had Asuka come down and attack Becky and then beat the hell out of Charlotte, to where Charlotte is enraged, like, no, all right, I don't care about this match. I need to go face Asuka. Like, Asuka would have been like, I choose you or whatever. You have no choice in the matter. Something like that, instead of Ronda Rousey coming out and being the one to do it. Because it also doesn't make... Even Ronda kind of looks like a dum-dum after what she did. Like, I can kind of understand in the spirit of competition and what she said, that I want to embarrass both of you, and that's why I did what I did. I can understand that on some aspects, but now, as Scott Steiner would say, she got a 33rd and a third chance or whatever of winning her match. Like, I don't know.
Like, I don't even buy her. Okay, so she really wants Becky to be in a match. So she waited to the end of the match to come in and attack her because she was about to tap out to Charlotte.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Just
like
that was a waste of 8 minutes on the show, and the show still ended early. So.
And then I'm like, okay, so the thing with Ronda Rousey is, okay, now they got her looking like a badass. I'll admit that, because when she destroyed Becky the other day, I was like, wow, okay, you just killed your number one woman babyface. Okay, whatever. But the video that she did afterwards with the most fantabulous memes
Oh yeah.
It's actually putting Ronda back over.
Undertaker and Kane aren't really brothers. I like this. Seth Rollins isn't really an architect. But also I want to mention this. What you guys think of the Elias segments throughout the night? Of him pretty much hosting Fastlane.
To me, they were overdone and dumb. Like, I mean, Elias is entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but like, they're like getting cheap heat by saying bad stuff about a city. That only goes so far. Like, that's one of those things. Like, as a wrestler, like, you do it, and then you're like, yep, all right, I got my cheap heat. Now I got to get real heat. Like, I'm kind of over him. Like, now that they changed him heel again, it's like, dude, you're just on the show to be on the show.
I have no idea what their plans are with Elias, because he can actually go in the ring, but they don't ever let him wrestle. And when he does wrestle, they put him in 5-minute matches that mean nothing.
Yeah.
He looks good in them. Like I said, he has ability, obviously. Triple H believed in him that basically before Velveteen Dream, pretty much Elias was Triple H's handpicked man. So, I don't know. Mustafa, you got any thoughts on Elias hosting Fastlane?
I like him coming out cutting on the people when he's really, really creative about it. So some of them are better than others. But yeah, I'm kind of over him just doing just random stuff. It's always the same stuff. Get on the guitar. Somebody comes, interrupts him, and I like that he acknowledges one time that somebody didn't interrupt him, and then somebody interrupted him. I believe that's how. I don't know if that was Raw or what I'm thinking about right now, but
yeah.
But yeah, give the guy a chance. I mean, there's somebody else you can mix in or somewhere else. I think one of the biggest problems now, and I know. In our interview we had with Skylar Reed, you kind of brought up the difference between the men and the women. And I feel like with the women, they're trying more things with, but they're kind of being real stagnant is the word I want to look with the men. Like, they got all these men that they can rotate in and do cool stuff, but they don't do anything with. I mean, you got Elias, who doesn't wrestle ever, and then when he does, it's a random tag match or something like that, then that's it. You got guys like EC3 that every time you see, he's just looking in the mirror. So he came there, he got dressed up just to look into a mirror. Okay, cool. All right, you did that. Then you finally had the guy on TV. Well, not on TV. I think it was it was main event. It's still TV. He had him lose on main event. Like, what was the point of bringing him? Might as well send him back down.
Right.
He's just traveling on the WWE's dime for no reason.
Yeah, and actually, I forgot to mention this, and I didn't get to see it. I didn't even get to go watch the YouTube clip. EC3 spoke on this show. He tried to holler at Mandy Rose. I'm pretty sure Skylar Reed felt some type of way.
I didn't even notice. Didn't even notice.
And then in the final segment of the night, we had the Shield reuniting for one last ride. Or as Seth Rollins would say, one last motherfucking time. We had the Shield defeating Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. Fun match. The finish was never necessarily in question. It was definitely a Shield match. It was a classic Shield match. Just chaos and anarchy. What'd you guys think?
You know who I thought really looked like a star in that match? And let me know if I'm wrong. I thought Bobby Lashley looked great in that match. I thought, look at Bobby Lashley getting it in.
Yeah, he actually looked like a monster in that match.
So Skylar Reed would tell you, I really was not a fan of Bobby Lashley. I know Skylar Reed was a big fan of Bobby Lashley during his TNA run. I was not, but I've ever since he's been with Leo Rush, I've been a huge fan of Bobby Lashley because I think this is Bobby Lashley at his best.
Yes. I just had to like throw my hat for a second because I got so excited. Bobby Lashley is that dude. If they would just let him unleash Bobby Lashley, like as he's been showing, like he can go with the Shield, He can go in tag team matches. He can go with Finn Balor. Like, Bobby Lashley's out there doing stuff. And even his, like, interactions with Lio Rush. Like, he punks Lio Rush, and it's great. But then he keeps him under his wing. Like, man, you're good. You're my little dude. Come here. Like, oh, that's so exciting. Yeah. The match was hot. Like, I was like, man, how are they going to go for, like, 30 minutes? Oh, wait, they can do it? What? Let's see. I was excited.
Yeah, when I saw what time it was, I was like, oh, they're going to have a marathon match. All right, Here we go.
And there was not a moment where, I mean, even with the double heat and all that, like, there was not a moment where you just kind of was like, this is boring. Like, even though, like you said, you knew what was going to happen. The Shield was going over. No doubt about it. But you were like, oh, dude, they just powerbombed that guy on the floor, or through a table on the floor? Okay. Yeah, now they're powerbombing him and hitting him with every finisher they got. I was like, this is good stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it was basically a reminder for everybody who forgot, because you got to think, every single Shield reunion that we've had since the original breakup has always been marred by an injury or something like that. Like, remember, Kurt Angle had to step in to replace, I think it was Roman Reigns or whatever, when he had the measles or mumps or whatever the hell it was. And like, there's been a whole bunch of star stops. This match basically reminded you, this is why these three guys have been our main event stars for the past 3 years. That's pretty much.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Darren Corbin, but I think Darren Corbin went in and put in work in that match. He hit Roman with a deep six out of nowhere. They're like, I damn near jumped out of my couch. It was so great.
Well, I've been putting Baron Corbin over on this podcast for a while. I like Baron Corbin. I don't care.
That dude's terrible.
I like Baron Corbin.
on a real note, though, like, the one thing that I appreciated that WWE did the whole match, I hate Michael Cole. If you know anything about me, I cannot stand vintage Michael Cole. Like, I feel like he ruins everything, and I don't know how he's been a commentator for that long. But anyways, he kept saying over and over that Dean Ambrose was leaving, which then made me think it was a work. And I'm like, what is going on here? But every, like, 5 minutes, oh, man, they're doing this because Dean Ambrose is leaving. He's leaving the WWE. He won't renew his contract. And I'm like, wow, okay. He's talking about the match.
He's headed to greener pastures, as his wife would put it.
See, I think just the attention that they putting on it,
yeah,
it seems fishy, man.
Yeah,
some fishy going on at the sardine factory. I'm all I'm saying.
The one thing I did just notice, though, I read online, so it could be a leak thing too, that they're having people step in as honorary Shield members on house shows, and a lot of the time it's Braun Strowman. So I'm like, man, they can't just be leaking stuff and saying that, and it's true. I think he's coming back.
Dean Ambrose, the character, is leaving the WWE. He's gonna leave and come back as a reinvented character.
He's gonna come back as Dean Young.
Yep.
Dean
he's gonna feud with Mike and Maria Kanellis.
Might as well. They're not doing anything.
Dean Moxley, John Ambrose. But
I was a big John Moxley fan.
Did you ever get to face him?
No, he was like CZW, man.
I know. I don't know if you had any hardcore matches in your past.
Skylar Reed versus John Moxley in a weed whacker match.
Oh no! You've seen that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
You got to bring New Jack into Legacy Pro and let him and Skylar Reed go at it.
No,
we have a strong no homicide policy at our shows.
Right. I will literally walk out that ring. He will have to find me.
When we say no homicide, we're not talking about the wrestler. He's cool, but no people dying at the show.
You know what, Match? I know you mentioned on people go check out the interview when it drops. Like I said, it's going to drop on either the 29th or the 30th. But when you mentioned about going overseas to wrestle, I would like to see a triple threat between you, Pete Dunne, and Sean Priest.
What?
I'll pay for that.
I
I'll
think
pay for that.
I think that'd be a great match.
I mean, I've liked this guy before he got to NXT and whatever. I would like to work Trent Seven. That
Again, we have a no homicide. I think Trent Seven.
Trent? No, wait, no, Trent Seven, like from
Yeah, I know
Mustache
who.
Mountain.
Yeah, I know who Mustache Mountain is. I'm saying he would murder you.
Why?
Just all power. That
He
guy.
doesn't power moves.
Oh
Are
no,
you-
the scrawny. Okay, yeah, I know who you talking about. I got him confused. I was thinking the guy who won the UK inaugural UK championship.
Ooh, you
Tyler-
know who else?
Yeah, that's
Dude,
what.
Tyler Bates like 150 pounds. Yeah, no.
I want to see Skylar Reed versus Walter.
Oh no! Now you're
Walter
funny.
just
I would
got
like
slammed.
with
I
Walter.
forgot who just picked him up and just slammed him like ridiculously. I saw the highlight on YouTube. But yeah, that was your Fastlane review. But we're gonna get into what happened on Raw and SmackDown. We'll kick things off
Oh man,
with
we gotta go through Raw and SmackDown. Jeez.
we're not gonna go match by match. We kind of go storyline by storyline. So but they did kick things off with the Shield. Basically, all deciding to go their separate ways. Roman Reigns pretty much says Seth has to go take care of the Beast. Roman has to take care of some loose ends on his part with Baron Corbin and everything, and then Dean's gonna go do whatever it is that Dean Ambrose does. They all hug, shake hands, pose for the crowd. Seth Rollins stays in the ring while the other two leave. And then he is joined by Paul Heyman on the stage, who cuts a promo about how great Brock Lesnar is and how he's going to beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Wasn't that the most oddest transition ever?
It was.
Because Roman and Dean would have had to walk right past.
No, Paul Heyman came from the side of the stage, so he did it the right way.
Okay. But what are our thoughts on this leading into WrestleMania?
That promo was great.
Again, that weird transition just threw me off. It's like, yeah, we're the Shield, yay! All right, Seth, we're gonna leave so you can cut this promo now. So we'll see you in the back, dude. And then he gets on the mic. He's like, yeah, I'm Seth freaking Rollins. I'm going to WrestleMania. And then, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. I'm like, okay, let me show you this video on my client, Brock Lesnar. And then we come back from commercials and they're all gone. Like, what happened? Like, I get it kind of making things more fluent and stuff like that, but they really got to think about how some of this stuff comes off. It's just odd.
The reason why I said the promo was great, though, is not Seth Rollins, but Paul Heyman did something where he made it real, where Seth Rollins told him, like, oh, he had trouble with AJ and Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan, like guys his size. And Paul Heyman hit him with but guess what? When he faced Daniel Bryan, he thought he was wrestling AJ Styles. When he wrestled AJ, he thought he was wrestling Jinder Mahal. When he wrestled Finn Balor, he thought he was wrestling, Braun Strowman. And it, like, in my head, I was like, no one would have ever thought about that until he said it. And it's like, now you gotta actually, there's that portion of your brain that's like, that makes perfect sense. Like, only Paul Heyman would come up with something that actually makes sense and like revolves around all of these matches to pull it all back together. And I'm like, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, because we all know if the WWE didn't make AJ Styles wrestle Jinder Mahal, it would have been Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar, and we wouldn't even be talking about Brock Lesnar right now.
Oh, come on.
Jinder Mahal would have went over.
The Maharaja.
Yep. He was on fire at that point.
Yeah, this is typical WrestleMania time for Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. This is how they get their money right here. So, the match is going to be what the match is going to be. Like, same thing you just said. I love Paul Heyman pointing out that little seed that's been planted over the past 2 or 3 years with Brock Lesnar having to face all these small guys on like 72 hours notice or whatever. So that was an interesting take on everything as far as he has time to prepare for you, Seth Rollins. Not to mention he's got beef with you that was never settled because Undertaker showed up to kick him in the dick the last time that he was trying to get exact revenge on Seth Rollins. So,
but no, think about it. Like even before that, he was the one that cost him. He took the title away from Brock Lesnar in that 3-way.
Yeah, that's
won the 3-way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When he cashed in, he pinned Roman Reigns and took the title at WrestleMania from Brock. Brock came out. They haven't
even mentioned that. That should have been a big freaking deal.
Brock came out and destroyed the cameraman through his temper tantrum, and then they had the match all set up for SummerSlam, and then that's when the Undertaker made his reappearance after WrestleMania to kick Undertaker in the dick, and Seth Rollins won that match, or lost that match by disqualification or whatever because Undertaker got involved. But yeah, so. They're not even really addressing the history between Seth and Brock Lesnar. I don't understand why. Like you just said, it should be a much bigger deal that these two are going to be facing at WrestleMania now in a legitimate manner compared to based off their past history.
I mean, they got 4 weeks, though.
I do want to put in my 2 cents. I do feel like I don't feel that engaged in this title match. And I think it's mainly because we're not seeing Brock Lesnar that often. And I know there's always the situation when it comes to WrestleMania time is that you don't see him, then you see him a couple weeks going into the show, and then you have the show. But I feel like, for some reason, I feel like he needs to be there now because, one, you had Seth not wrestling for the past couple of weeks because he's healing up for an injury, on top of not having him on the show, Brock Lesnar on the show. So it feels like there's a big disconnect as far as the fans and myself being engaged in that match. Yeah. You know, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, I can see that. Then I want to skip ahead. Kind of. We had what was it? The Ronda Rousey promo that was cut. Where she told Becky Lynch and Charlotte that she's here to desecrate their place of worship and is not a place of safety or whatever. They can't run, they can't hide. She's going to face them at WrestleMania. I know we kind of already spoke on it as far as the match that happened at Fastlane and the end result of that. Are we happy that now we pretty much just have it set in stone of what we're going to be getting?
No.
I know on this podcast I had proposed once upon a time that maybe Becky could take out Charlotte before the match or something like that to make it a one-on-one.
I think the only thing that's going to save this match is if Ronda keeps going on this super heel turn that she's going on, and then it comes down to the point where Becky and Charlotte have to work together to take her down, and they take her down being the outsider.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're not a big Ronda Rousey fan over there.
Actually, I was. I'm still to this day. I think she's. You know how I was saying there's only 5 or 6 women that are actually good in wrestling. She's one of them. Everything she does is believable. When she throws people, I'm like, oh my god. There's no give in that, dude. The beating she gave Dana Brooke on Monday, I was like, she is throwing her on the floor. There's no give at all.
Yeah, I was going to address that. I've met Dana Brooke in real life. She is a sweetheart because I was into bodybuilding. I know she's been complaining all over social media for months that she's not getting TV time and everything like that, and she actually does love what she does for the WWE and everything like that. Her promo was trash, and she was literally out there shaking you could just.
It was good for her. I
saw her do better when she was with Charlotte.
Yeah, I agree, but for a person that's not on TV all the time, And actually, I read some stuff that she posted later. Like, she went out there like that on purpose. Like, she wanted to show, like, apparently she has some real life heat with Ronda. Like, the fact, like, so she told some story on Instagram about her, like, Ronda coming into WWE and kind of was nervous about where putting her stuff down and all this. And, like, Dana kind of took her in, like, hey, come hang with us, come, like, put your bags over here, blah, blah, blah. And, like, she really got offended when Ronda went on that tirade about wrestling and fake and all this stuff. And so Dana wanted to come out there. If you notice, she didn't have any makeup on. Like, she had none of her, like, stuff in, no
Yeah,
fake eyelashes, none of that stuff. Like, she wanted to come out there, like, naked, basically, if that makes sense.
that would have made the
And,
ratings
like,
go up.
huh?
So that would have definitely got the ratings to go up.
No, no, I meant
I
as
know
in
what you meant.
face, but yeah, like she was really offended about that whole situation.
Like,
I get it, but
I felt they did her a disservice too. Like, she
They
came
did.
out there and being shaky and everything, and cutting that promo, and then having her get destroyed by her. Like,
yeah, I'm like, if you're gonna come out there and you're passionate about this business, you can't come out there. Whether that was her intent or not her intent to come out there with the shaky hands and everything. Like, I don't really have a problem with her even stuttering, but come out there like more pissed off and sound a little bit more passionate about the business or whatever. If, like, somebody comes to one of your shows and you're cutting a promo in the ring and they start whatever, this stuff is all fake or whatever, you're not gonna sit there and start getting nervous. You're gonna be like, man, you being real disrespectful right now, and you got 3 seconds to take back what you just said, or I'm gonna show you
Right.
how real this can be. I don't know. Dana, I think we're gonna get the bus flip after WrestleMania, and I think that Dana may be one of those people on the cutting block. I think after WrestleMania and they do this international shakeup that they're planning to do, you're gonna see a lot of releases, because I think the WWE is now about to start trimming the fat that they have on their roster. One thing that I forgot to mention with the whole Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman thing is that we had a return happen during this segment of Shelton Benjamin attacking Seth Rollins, which resulted in a match, which also resulted in Paul Heyman being on commentary for the match. And it was a funny segment that I wanted to point out, where Paul Heyman takes a phone call, and apparently it's from Brock Lesnar. I thought it was hilarious because based on something Brock Lesnar did last year where he was like, I don't watch this show. Why would I watch this show? But he called Paul Heyman, was like, I don't like the way they're talking about me on commentary. I thought that was kind of funny. Were you happy to see Shelton Benjamin getting some shine?
now when he comes as a random heel all of a sudden.
Well, he was the only black person that they didn't use throughout all the Black History Month.
Well, I did how they kind of acknowledge, like, he was like, oh, I only paid him to come and give him some German suplex. I didn't pay him to have a match.
Yeah.
Next up, one of the things that happened on the show was we had Intercontinental Championship match. Bobby Lashley defeating Finn Balor to take back the Intercontinental Championship. What you guys think of that match? Was it surprising to see them playing hot potato with the belt?
Loved every minute of it.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, but yeah, the whole just throwing the belt up and down and up and down. It was like they only took the belt off of Bobby Lashley so he could do the run with the Shield. And then they're like, okay, now you can have the belt back. Like, meh, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know what the plans are now. There's some rumors that Finn Balor may be going to face Taker. I don't think Taker's appearing at Mania this year. I know we got 3 weeks left until the final show. But also, I don't know. The way WWE has just been throwing together WrestleMania now, like, pretty much the only matches we had that were confirmed was that Ronda Rousey was going to be having a match. It just had to be confirmed if it was going to be a one-on-one or a triple threat. And we had Seth Rollins facing Brock Lesnar. Those were pretty much the only 2 matches set. And now that we've gotten through Fastlane, Raw, and SmackDown, we have like 6 matches on the card. That's pretty much
I counted. I counted 11. There's 11.
Set in stone.
Basically, yeah. I can count through them if you want.
All right, go ahead.
I think it was like 11.
Go ahead.
Okay, so
what I mean is announced.
They basically announced it. I mean, like if you go through like story. Okay, so you have the heavyweight title match. Boom. Or the universal title, I should say.
Well, what I mean is I know that we're gonna have those matches, but we don't know who the WWE Championship is gonna be. You could say it's
no. I'm saying no. Hold on, I got you. Okay. I got you. They said the universal title match. That's Rollins and Brock. The women's title match, the triple threat. They've already said the Iconics versus Sasha and Bailey.
I thought they challenged them to come to SmackDown, but they hadn't set a match up yet.
That basic. Okay, fine, I'll give you that one. But that's basically going to happen. Randy Orton and AJ Styles. He already threw the challenge out at him.
Yeah.
Miz and Shane McMahon.
Yep.
The
Rick Ross noise.
You said what?
I said you hit him with the Rick Ross noise for Shane versus Miz.
I mean, why?
We'll get there. We'll get.
Why, Shane? Why?
We're gonna get over to SmackDown.
Yeah. I'll just let us get through. But yeah, basically all the matches have been like set. There's only a couple that I'm like, I don't know what this is gonna do.
Yeah, we know what matches we're gonna get or can anticipate, especially when it comes to champions defending their belts on the card. But what I mean is like exactly who they're gonna face. The Iconics having a WrestleMania match. That is just very, 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 very random because they have no momentum. They had more momentum when they were playing games with Asuka, and we defeated Asuka, which makes it as good as we defeated Charlotte, and Charlotte defeated Asuka, so we're better than Asuka, and we're better than Charlotte. Like if they were getting a tag team title match against the Boston Hug Connection after that, I would say they had more momentum than they have going right now.
But at one point, we didn't think Tamina was going to wrestle either, but she did. And now you have Tamina and Nia Jax versus whatever the heck Natalya and Beth Phoenix call themselves.
Beth Phoenix looks ripped.
Women of Doom or whatever they were called.
Next up, this probably made Xavier Mustafa pop. We had the announcement for who's hosting WrestleMania 35. And this was given to us on a moment of bliss. So Alexa Bliss revealed that the host of WrestleMania 35 is Xavier Mustafa. I'll let you announce this.
The goddess herself, the great Alexa Bliss. And I'm super excited.
Agreed. It was very well done. Very well done.
I think she's going to be setting her name on fire. They're going to give her a bazooka.
She can't be The Rock now.
You think she's ever actually going to be cleared to come back to the ring, or do you think that it's over for her?
I thought she was. That's what I thought a couple of months ago she was.
She had the one match.
She wrestled a tag match.
Yeah, she had the one match. But, I mean, since then, nothing.
I mean, they might just be waiting until after WrestleMania to give her something to do.
It's been 2 months. 3 months since she was cleared, actually. 3 months.
Okay, if they brought her back right now or in the last 2 months, what would she do?
Asuka.
You know what?
She's on Raw.
I don't care if she's on Raw. So is Becky Lynch and Charlotte.
Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble. She can do whatever she wants. Charlotte was added to the match because she's the greatest of all time.
Damn.
That's literally what Vince said, wasn't it? He said like she was the greatest female competitor and all this blah blah blah.
You know what? I was thinking about this hard the other day too, and like I don't want to ever sound like I dislike Charlotte or anything, but like I really kind of, I don't even know the word, have a new respect for Charlotte because I actually sat and thought about it. You're this woman going into the wrestling business as a woman who usually you probably don't get a lot of respect, and you kind of shit it on most of the time, because this was kind of before the women's revolution. Your brother passed away, who was big into the wrestling business. You decide to continue in the wrestling business in honor of this person. Your dad is arguably one of the greatest of all time, and you still go forward in the wrestling business, and you actually are pretty good yourself. So I actually got to give Charlotte a lot of credit, because any normal person, probably under all that pressure, probably would have broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I give her credit. Don't get me wrong. I said she was in that top 5, top 6, women. But, like, I'm just sick of seeing her. I'm done. Like, I'm over it. Give me somebody else. I'll take Asuka, who can't speak English, to give me another promo.
Oh, I just
I'm
watched
over
her. I just watched her workout on Celtic Warrior workouts with Sheamus.
She's a beast.
Asuka is a machine.
Yeah.
Like, she literally the storyline that they gave Kurt Angle when he was like the wrestling machine. Asuka is that. Like, I've never seen anyone do hit training like her, and she's still like, I want to go more. I want to go more. 3 more times. Sheamus is over there just dead. He's turning purple. Like, this woman is on a whole nother level, and everybody was talking about Io Shirai and these other Japanese women replacing Asuka. Asuka is amazing. I don't know.
Asuka will get replaced when Asuka wants to leave. That's what it is. Yeah. Io Shirai is good. Don't get me wrong. Io Shirai is really good. And so is Meiko Satomura and women like that. But nah. Asuka's on a whole nother playing field.
And apparently this WrestleMania, Braun Strowman, I guess he gets the spectacle spot at WrestleMania. He's going to be doing something, it appears, with the SNL crew of Colin Jost and Michael Che. Don't know if his statement about Colin Jost and seeing the next time he sees him, it'll be live in New York, because WrestleMania is taking place in New York. So maybe it could be a foreshadowing to something happening at WrestleMania, since Colin Jost and Michael Che are supposed to be correspondents, or if Braun Strowman may be ambushing or taking over Saturday Night Live on one of these upcoming Saturdays. Who knows? But they had a segment where Braun Strowman was cutting a promo, and then they told him his car was ready. He goes out to the parking lot, and Colin Jost had bought Braun Strowman a car, which he promptly destroyed Street Fighter style.
You know what I just said to my wife today? That dude has fallen hard. Like, main event status, where everybody thought he was the next big thing, and every single time I was like, nah, this dude's garbage. Like, I don't care about the guy. Now he's literally the bottom of the card. He's not even on the card.
You know what did it? I think it was Crown Jewel, or was it the other one?
Side by side with Brock Lesnar.
The one where we lost to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, when they did the side by side promo, and he was sitting there mouthing his words to himself.
Yeah, that to me was the downfall of Braun Strowman, because apparently Braun Strowman was supposed to win that match. But they decided to have him lose because they were punishing him for something. And I'm just like, so to prove a point, you'll crap on your biggest star. And he has not gained that momentum since.
Literally, I couldn't say biggest star. No.
To me, he was their biggest star.
I think he was over, but like he was over for like dumb reasons, like because he could flip a car or he could like tear a roof off and like just things like that. Like, yeah, he's a big dude, but like, all right, this is gonna sound really bad because I can't stand this guy. I would much rather see Finn Balor as the champ than Braun Strowman. At least I know I'm gonna get a good match.
I like Braun Strowman's matches, especially the ones with Roman Reigns. They've watered him down more. Now all he is tackles. Like, because he had a moveset and they've watered it down. Remember, Braun Strowman used to do drop kicks.
But that's the thing, though. He can't work everyone, and that's why I always kept telling people like he's gonna fall off hard. He can work a Brock Lesnar, a Roman Reigns, like guys that they already build to the moon. But like if you put him in there with like Dolph Ziggler, it's not going to be a match. Like people aren't going to believe it, or a Finn Balor, or like anybody like that.
Well, you
He
can't
has
say
to be.
you can't say people aren't gonna believe it because you've had Finn Balor go up against people like Brock Lesnar and different things like
Yes,
that.
Brock Lesnar is amazing. That's why. As much crap as people give him, he hasn't put on a bad match since he's like come back.
Yeah, but also the thing is that Braun Strowman was kind of handicapped from the jump. Like when you say believable, because they made him in. He was basically the 2018
Exactly.
version of Kane, where it's like
Exactly.
there's nobody else here as big as you besides Brock Lesnar, and we've made you
Right.
into an indestructible killing machine. And I knew it was over for Braun Strowman when they did the whole thing with Bobby Lashley and them crushing his elbow, and he's over there crying like a little bitch. I'm like, this that was the real burial of Braun Strowman. Is they had to humanize him, but they humanized him down to such a level now where he can't just be thrown back into monster status anymore. They fed him all of their big guys to get him over. They even fed him Roman
Yes.
Reigns.
Exactly.
Had
And
him,
that's what I mean though. Like they fed him all those people, and that was the only way he got built up. He didn't get built up naturally. Like you just mentioned Kane. Like Kane was doing stuff with one person, and then he could wrestle other. Like he had a feud with X-Pac. Like Braun Strowman can't just have a feud with
but that
anybody.
was later
They,
on down the line as well.
but I'm saying in general though, like Braun Strowman's one of those guys, like you said, they built him up by letting him feed on the biggest and baddest so that they could build him into this monster. Well, once you have a monster, you have to put the monster down at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's also different too because the dynamics of the WWE have changed since Kane was running around doing pretty much the same stuff that Braun Strowman was doing. Not everybody was 3 times smaller than Kane. Like Kane was going up against Undertaker, of course. He was also going up against Austin. He was going up against the Triple H's of the world. Those guys weren't small.
And he lost, though. He lost every once in a while. It might be fluky the way he lost. Some of his wins were fluky, but like he lost every. Braun Strowman went on a tearing spree of
Yeah, he had
like,
one loss, and his first loss was to Kalisto in a dumpster match,
yeah, like
and then he lost to Roman Reigns, and then
yeah.
after that,
To me, Braun Strowman's not that great.
yeah. Then we also had, you mentioned it earlier or alluded to it, we had a Nia Jax and Natalya match, which Nia Jax was accompanied to the ring by Tamina, of course, and Natalya was accompanied to the ring by Beth Phoenix. And I feel like Beth Phoenix just jumped the gun in this match about 15 seconds in. She's in the ring beating up on Nia Jax, and it turns to a big old scuffle. So pretty sure at WrestleMania, I know you mentioned the matches that are set. I think we're probably going to get a 4-way for those women tag belts. It's probably going to be the Boston Hug, Nia Jackson, Tamina taking on Natalya, Beth Phoenix, and the Iconics. Because, like I said, I can't see just the Iconics getting a one-on-one match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was actually reading today, because I read every now and then, and apparently they are going to be sending them down to NXT to have something with one of the people down in NXT.
Cool.
So we could actually not see the Boston Hug connection.
Well, I saw
they
them,
get to WrestleMania.
well, they
with
did
titles.
show up on NXT to help out the Sky Pirates, and that's also the rumor is that they may be facing the Sky Pirates, but who knows? Like I said, we got the international shakeup coming, so I think that match could actually wait until the international shakeup. So, then we also had, and this kind of brought a tear to my eye. I'm gonna be honest. Kurt Angle coming out and announcing his final match is going to be taking place at WrestleMania. Thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it is, who is it going to be? Because that's going to either piss me off or make me happy, depending on who's going to
It's going to be
be.
Baron Corbin.
I'm going to be pissed.
Yep, me too.
I don't know. Like I feel that this moment has kind of been wasted on television by seeing him lose to Drew McIntyre. When he lost to Drew McIntyre, I thought either this is his retirement, he's gonna come out and retire next week, or is gonna build to a storyline, a redemption storyline. And then he was beaten by Drew McIntyre, and then he was beaten by Baron Corbin, and then he was beaten by Dolph Ziggler. And so I'm like, do you need a young guy to defeat him to face him in WrestleMania and beat him in WrestleMania on his way out? Is that even going to be a rub for someone to say they beat Kurt Angle at this stage in his career?
Nah, if he wouldn't have took them L's already, I would say yes. But since he took those L's, no.
Yeah, and so I think it should be John Cena. That was John Cena's first
Damn
match.
it! I was hoping I get to say that first.
That was who he faced in his first television match. So it would kind of be poetic for John Cena to be the one to retire Kurt Angle, because, like I said, that rub has been wasted for it to feel like some young talent is going to get over by beating Kurt Angle. If that was the case, they might as well just have Kurt Angle facing Elias at WrestleMania or something. Scott?
Well, what I want to say, that's why I hate you being a moderator sometimes, because you get to get your opinion out there first. That's exactly what I was going to say. That I think it will be poetic if it's John Cena.
I reach up and grab the brass ring. That's all it is. Skylar?
I maybe can see if it's Samoa Joe, because there's some good stuff in TNA.
Yeah, but he has the U.S. title right now.
Yeah, I know. All right, that's all I got.
Unless Kurt Angle goes over and he's like, all right, now I'm gonna lose my belt to Vacant. It was undefeated.
See, and I wouldn't even say Triple H or Batista could do it, but they got their own thing going on.
That's also something else I want to address later on. But what do you think? What did you think about the segment?
It was pointless.
You talking about Batista?
No, Kurt Angle.
Oh, Kurt Angle.
Yeah, like he just came out and said it, and it was like, cheap pop. You're in Pittsburgh. Yay.
What about the match? What about the match with Apollo Crews after that followed?
When like he said it, and they were like, "Oh, he's gonna have a match." I did not think Apollo Crews was coming down the aisle. I was like, "What?" Like, so I've been sitting here while you guys are fanboying over Kurt Angle.
You're never a fan.
I was entertained by some of the things Kurt Angle did, but like I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure out, like, in his, what is it? Nearly 20 years? Something like that. Somewhere close to that. 15 plus. Like, he only had like 5 real feuds that I can think of. Like, that are memorable. Like, the only one in TNA that I'm like, for sure, is Samoa Joe, right? Does anybody got any other ones over there?
Drew McIntyre.
No. In TNA.
That was Drew McIntyre in TNA. He put over Drew McIntyre in TNA. That's who Drew McIntyre won the title from.
Yeah, but I don't say that as a memorable feud though. That was just like
it was.
Did he have a program with Bobby Roode?
If he did, I can't remember that one.
He did, but it wasn't that memorable. Jeff Jarrett, because he actually took his wife.
Yeah.
Then we got.
And then WWE, I can like name people that he worked, but like actual feuds, I would probably say Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, Big Show, and Chris Benoit.
Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
And there's another one. So maybe like 5 guys.
Shane
maybe
McMahon.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon.
Yeah, that wasn't really a big feud though.
But what matters at the end of the day? Is it titles? Is it feuds? Or is it matches?
No. But that's what I'm saying. Like, who would come back besides John Cena? Like,
well, they've only faced each other twice ever. So,
or Xavier made the comment of, like, he would be mad if it was someone, but he'd be happy if it was this person. Like, I'd be mad if it was just about anybody but John Cena right now.
Yeah, because like I said, to beat Kurt Angle at this stage isn't a rub for someone. It's just
no, not even the rub. Just the nostalgia of like, it's Kurt Angle. Like, I don't even really care that it's Kurt Angle right now.
Maybe the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see two people that can barely move around the ring. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's
at least with John Cena, we could get the Ric Flair moment, the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels moment. We ain't gonna get that with Undertaker. They're both gonna be over there blown up.
Just get Vince out there.
might as well.
Or let it be Shane if he wasn't already doing something. I would have been there for that. Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle. What is it, 15 years later? In a street fight. I would have been there for that.
The Rock.
One rock bottom and it's over. But yeah, again, we had a match with Aleister Black and Ricochet. They're doing their thing with between Raw and SmackDown. No, don't really need to address it because right now they're aimless. They have nothing going on with them because they're on both shows, and I really don't like that. I feel like Ricochet and Aleister Black are being overexposed right now. They're on NXT, they're on Raw, they're on SmackDown. Like these guys, WWE is asking for injury when it comes to these two guys because they're just pulling double and triple duty some weeks. And I know NXT is recorded, but still, they still have to go and do some recording for that as well. So I don't know. WWE needs to slow down with those guys. Next, we get up to Triple H and Batista. Did anybody get hyped about this? Is anybody excited about the Triple H and Batista?
Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Slobbing in my beer. Give me what I want. That was so awkward.
Dude, oh my gosh. She said it like 10 times. After a while, I was confused. Like, what does he want so bad? And then he's like, oh, the match. And like Triple H said, the match. And I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was something better. Like,
I said,
I thought he wanted like a Hell in a Cell or something. Like,
I want somebody to take that clip and insert it into Porky's if you've ever seen the movie Porky's. I want that thing. Give me that thing. But like I said, the best line of this was Triple H saying, you got all your little security guards, the guardians of the independent scene. I thought that was hilarious.
I hated that line.
I'm sure you did.
I'm like, all right, but you pulling any guys every time I turn around, but y'all want to shit on them every now and then. Okay.
Yeah, the line was just funny though to me. But Batista looked like Batista looked like a superstar up there. He looked like he was ready to cry, damn near, that he was being so passionate about wanting this match. I don't know why. I guess maybe it's something in the wrestling business you guys would know better than I would, where he just really wants to do the honors because he said he wants to put Triple H over because Triple H was the one who gave him his shot and put him over. So that's why he wants the match. As far as a setup for this, I don't get it. As far, like, I guess with the Ric Flair beatdown and everything, they're trying to justify it, but it's like, you never beat me, so I want another match with you.
you know what? No, here's the thing which I don't understand about them. They have never been, I mean, I don't say they've never been enemies. They've been friends a lot longer than they've been enemies. If you look at it over the course of time, why wouldn't Batista just be able to come up to Triple H and say, hey, man, let's go one more time for old time's sake. I don't have that much time left in this business. You don't have that much time. Let's do this, and it's a mutual respect thing. I don't understand why Dave Batista will come back after all this time and beat up Ric Flair and then come out talking about, so give me what I want for a match at WrestleMania. Like, I feel like, shouldn't he have earned the respect from Triple H being a friend from him that long to request something like that?
Well, remember he addressed that when he beat up Ric Flair. It's like, do I got your attention now? So obviously he had been trying to talk to Triple H about doing the match, and he was being ignored. So that was his way of getting his attention and getting the match. So they kind of explained that away.
Again, I think this is just overcomplicating things. Just forcing it.
Overcomplicating and then oversimplifying.
I was with it. I was with it when he beat up Ric Flair. I was with it when he made that promo up there, like on the Titantron. But like this week, where like he was standing right in front of him and they didn't get physical, that's where it lost it for me. To sit up there and yell, "Give me what I want" 27 times, like
I
he
got
should have just said something like, "Hey, like I got your attention, and I got your attention again. Now are you watching? Like
see. I kind of
I'm
liked.
demanding."
See, I
Or
kind of
he should have just been like, "I'm demanding a fight
yeah.
at WrestleMania." And what would Triple H have said? No, he'd have just been like, "You got it, you're on, but I run the company now. You're gonna do it under my conditions." And then he could have said the match, and the crowd would have popped better. Instead, it was like, "We're confused, we're confused, we're confused." Oh, a match? Yay! And that was it.
Yeah, I kind of like how they kind of explained the way though, where he was like, when Triple H was like, I should come up there, and then Batista was like, by the time you get up here and through all the security, I'll be long gone or whatever. But I
Mm.
also thought that they were going to allow Batista to become a little bit more vicious, but I guess he works for Disney, so they didn't want to take this angle. But I thought that Triple H wasn't going to give him the match because Batista basically said something kind of to the effect like, "Don't make me do more than I have to get this match or whatever." See, I thought Triple H was still going to deny him the match, and then we were going to have a segment with Batista terrorizing Stephanie McMahon or something like that, and then Triple H giving him the match. But he works for Disney, so they weren't going to take that dark of an angle with it. I'm more interested to see what type of bumps and condition that Batista is in when it comes to WrestleMania, what they allow him to do. Because we know when The Rock came back after his hiatus, he freaking like separated his abdominal muscles in the match against John Cena, and he had a movie to go film. And I'm pretty sure Batista has movies he has to film and has contracts that he has signed. So for him to come back and say he's going to do a street fight, I'm very interested to see what they do with that.
Well, I don't think he. I mean, he may be in his last Infinity War movie, but I don't think he's in anything else for them because when the James Gunn situation happened,
Well, he said he's
I
going over
think
to
he
DC.
quit.
Yeah, he said,
But yeah, DC. He wants to work with James Gunn on DC with Suicide Squad.
yeah,
I
with
think he's doing.
Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but I don't even think they're anywhere close to filming right now. So I think he's good.
yeah, I don't know.
They're too busy bringing random villains into that
All
universe.
right, all right. Well, yeah, we don't need you shitting on DC right now. Now we switch over to SmackDown. We had Vince McMahon saying that we started off with Shane McMahon coming out cutting a promo about why he did what he did to the Miz at Fastlane. Crowd started chanting over him that they wanted Kofi. Nobody really cared about the promo. By the end, the fans were reacting to Shane a little bit more, and basically he challenged the Miz to a match at WrestleMania. We kind of already addressed how we feel about that. You got anything else you want to throw on top of that?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, I'm good.
um, then we had also on SmackDown, we had Randy Orton and AJ Styles trade insults. Where Randy Orton is basically putting down AJ Styles and saying that this is the house that AJ Styles, I mean, that Randy Orton basically making a statement that this is actually the house that Randy Orton built because AJ Styles was out there on the independent scene and on the beach getting tans with uh, Carter or whatever over in TNA and wrestling in bingo halls, and AJ Styles comes out and says, "Hey, you're shitting on the indies the way that you are, but if you look around, you're surrounded by all indie guys now." I like the exchange between these two. It held my attention. Um, Randy Orton is somebody that AJ Styles can hang with on the mic more than when John Cena was shitting on him for it. Any thoughts on this?
Boring.
You thought it was boring?
Boring. Yeah.
I like that AJ Styles said something to the effect that he wouldn't be able to hang in any scene
Yeah.
like he has.
Yeah, because it's all about the passion. We kind of spoke about that earlier. You can't be about the money. You gotta love what you do.
Right, you take them long car rides for that little bit of money, Randy Orton wouldn't last 5 seconds in the indie scene.
And Randy Orton just doesn't have his matches just aren't those type of matches either. Like AJ Styles can go in there and wrestle for an hour. Would you want to see Randy Orton wrestle for more than 25 minutes? No. Not even in his prime. No.
Next up, we had Asuka defeating Sonya Deville via submission. The match pretty much ended similarly to the Mandy Rose ending, with Sonya Deville slipping on the ring apron and falling into an Asuka lock, and then Sonya and Mandy having words following the match.
Wait a minute. Time out. You said she fell into the Asuka lock? The way she transitioned, that was awesome. I don't know if you guys need to go back and look at it, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool exchange. I actually thought the way Sonya did it was better than the way Mandy did it on the pay-per-view.
Like, she was on all fours and Asuka like rolled around her body. I was like, that was cool.
Like a cobra.
A viper. Oh.
Anybody else got any thoughts?
No one is ready for Asuka.
We had a promo cut by the Iconics calling out the Boston Hug Connection for basically ducking them and saying that they would defend those titles anywhere, anytime, and they've never been on SmackDown yet. They've been on NXT, they've been on Raw, but they haven't come over to SmackDown yet. So hopefully we see those guys come over to SmackDown. Becky Lynch and Charlotte did a promo against each other, both basically saying that I earned my shot and I'm the queen. Any other thoughts?
Why do they just keep doing the same boring promo?
And how did she earn her shot? Vince McMahon basically handed it to her for no reason. She lost the Royal Rumble. That claim doesn't make any sense. Becky can't say it. Well, Becky can say it for the fact that she won the Royal Rumble, but she can't say it for the fact that she won that match because what's her name came in, Ronda Rousey came down there and hit her and caused a disqualification to make her win.
Also, we had Rey Mysterio and R-Truth defeating Samoa Joe and Andrade in a tag team match. Any thoughts on this?
They're about 1 or 2 matches from being overexposed, overdone. They need to mix something up in that situation or do something different because it's the same thing.
It looks like it's going to be Ray versus Samoa Joe, which I don't want to see that either.
Also, earlier in the night, we had a big tag team match going on. It was, let me see if I can name all the tag teams that was in it. We had the Hardys. We had the Bar. Who else was in this match? Oh, Shinsuke and Rusev. And there was one more team in the match, wasn't there?
It was Aleister Black and
Aleister Black and Ricochet. Yeah,
your boys.
Yeah, they were all having a tag team match that got interrupted by the New Day running down to the ring and pretty much taking out all of the heels. They damn near made it seem like they took out all the faces as well. And basically, that was kind of revenge for the previous night where they got beat down with Kofi. Well, for Fastlane, where Kofi got beat down by the Bar, and then they were jumped by Shinsuke and Rusev, and so they took over the ring. Later in the night, we would get a face-off between the New Day and Vince McMahon, basically saying like Kofi deserves his spot. And this was really the first time that Kofi actually spoke up for himself, without the filter of Big E and Xavier Woods, saying like, I've missed all these different events with my family and all these different things, moments in my life to be here and to be wrestling and to do what I love, and I've never complained about any of it. But the one thing I want to know is, what do I have to do to get my shot? What do we think about the promo? And then the stipulation that in order to get the WrestleMania spot, Kofi Kingston will have to defeat Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, The Bar, and who else? One more person came out, didn't they?
Rowan.
Yeah, Rowan.
Yep.
In a gauntlet match, man, I have to say as well.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, so you got the deck stacked up against him. He's gonna have to run through all these people to get the moment at WrestleMania. So then it's like, all right, what do you do? Well, do you bury Kofi again and have him lose? Then it's like, where do you have him lose at in his gauntlet if you do have him lose? Or do you have him go through the gauntlet, which absolutely makes no sense for any one person to start and end a gauntlet against all those people?
Yep.
Like somebody did the Mortal Kombat 1 thing where you got Kofi Kingston at the bottom, and you know how in Mortal Kombat, how every time you beat somebody, you go up, and there's Daniel Bryan at the top. And I'm looking at this, and I was like, on paper, this is unbelievable that he would win this match.
All world champions besides Rowan and Cesaro. All former world champions.
So it's going to take some creative booking there to make that believable. But I just think I understand putting the obstacles in his way. I don't think a gauntlet match is a good obstacle. Right. Because you're crapping on the people in the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like you're damn if Kofi wins the entire thing, because now you've pretty much buried all of those guys. And again, one of them has a title right now. He's the U.S. champion. So if Samoa Joe isn't the first person to come down in the gauntlet, and he's like the second, third, fourth, or fifth person to come down, and he loses to Kofi Kingston, you're shitting on that title itself. Also, if Kofi does pin Samoa Joe, even if he defeats him as number one at the number one spot, not now. I guess Kofi is he should be eligible to get the U.S. title shot. He pinned the champion. And then if Kofi loses, we really won't have a road to WrestleMania. You'll have 2 weeks to put something together. That would be logical. So I don't know. That's just a weird stipulation for them to put in front of Kofi Kingston in this situation.
Terrible times are upon us. See how we navigate through this.
And then that was the final segment of the show. But prior to that, we did have Rowan and Daniel Bryan taking on Mustafa Ali and Kevin Owens in a tag team match. Rowan and Daniel Bryan defeated Mustafa Ali and Kevin Owens via pinfall. Yeah, that was pretty much a SmackDown show. I don't think anybody really has much to say about that. Rowan's doing the claw choke slam type thing. Apparently Kevin Owens is a full-blown babyface, which is very weird to see him in that position. Obviously, you're also seeing that Kevin Owens isn't speaking because his voice just isn't babyface.
Yeah.
So, overall, the road to WrestleMania, like I said, it's forming, but it's still full of potholes. And I don't know when the WWE is really planning to fill in these potholes. You heard Skylar Reed earlier mention that there's about 11 or 12 matches that are assumed to be on the show, and I've mentioned on previous episodes that right now the thoughts are that WrestleMania is going to be like a 11 to 12 hour show. So that's just going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a marathon. I would hate to be someone there live at the venue to have to sit in that place. You're going to be spending about $50 in food, people. Eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the arena.
Yep, that is going to suck. It's going to suck watching it on TV for that long, but we'll get through it.
Well, we're going to have the different promos and everything like that, but, walking up and down those stairs, going to the bathroom, standing in line to get food, standing in line to use the restroom, and just doing that around 70,000, 80,000 people just doesn't sound like a good day to be around that many people for 12 hours. In New York. They're New Yorkers. They're New Yorkers. So we're going to, man, I'll be watching my Instagram for fights. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some epic brawls in the crowd. Any other thoughts? Anybody got anything else they want to say? Plug and promote?
I do not.
All right. Skylar Reed, you want to give them your contact information again for anybody who want to check you out?
Skylar Reed on Facebook, Skylar Reed 2L on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, so
what does the 2L mean?
Oh, you jokester. Too legit.
thought it was gonna be ladies love Skylar. But all right. So this has been your Fastlane review as well as SmackDown and Raw that followed. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night SlamCasters. Check us out on your favorite podcasting streaming app. Also, be sure to share, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook as well. We're up out of here. Come get slammed. Peace.